Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of Gore Column in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives about what's going on with their companies. Guys, if you believe in nickel, if you believe in nickel and its future in electric vehicles and the important role it's going to play in lithium-ion batteries, then you're going to love this interview with Power Nickel, who's aiming to become, and this is not just words, one of Canada's next low-carbon, high-grade nickel mines through the acquisition of 80% of the NISC project, which they took from Critical Elements Lithium, which also trades on the TSX Venture under CRE. But they're so focused on their lithium that they chose Power Nickel to joint venture and partner on this property. The NISC project lies in the region of a number of mining projects and big infrastructure, including Critical Elements we just talked about, Galaxy Resources, Nemaska Lithium. So they're in a great area. Why nickel? For those of you who might be new to the story, well, like I said, it plays a crucial role in lithium-ion battery chemistries. Currently, 40% of lithium-ion batteries contain nickel. That's expected to go to almost 60% by 2025. The NISC property is comprised of a large land position with numerous historical high-grade nickel intercepts, and a historical 43101 that we're going to talk about is in the process of being updated and upgraded. Terry, welcome back, my friend.
Great to be here, George. Good intro.
Hey, so much going on at Power Nickel, and your timing couldn't be better. Before we talk specifically about the things that have been taking place since August, how does the macro picture look for nickel for all the first-time people who are tuning in? How important is nickel going to be to the future of the renewable energy revolution?
Yeah, I think there's two primary drivers to nickel: urbanization and electrification. Okay, so as you know, the Asia, India, Indonesia, Africa, South America become more urbanized. They're buying more pots and pans, and that means stainless steel. So stainless steel is the biggest driver, demand-wise in nickel. They consume about 60% of the nickel, and that's growing at like a 6% compounded annual growth rate, which is phenomenal, right? So that is a core driver. And then, of course, sort of out of nowhere in the last few years, electrification has become a primary driver. And I think right now it uses about somewhere, estimates range between 12 to 15% of the nickel consumed. And that'll grow to 50% between now and 2030.
Wow,
and they expect
that's fast.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they expect they'll need, I don't know, you see the numbers are, 30 new nickel mines. I mean, it's just crazy because it's a lot easier to write that out on paper than it is to go out there and find them, I can tell you. So I don't know, it's super bullish for nickel. I mean, in the very short term, this year is expected to be sort of a slight surplus, slight deficit. It's going to be fairly close. Next year is sort of, again, expected to be sort of similar. And then after that, it's expected to go into a growing deficit and growing.
And for everybody at home, that means demand is going to way outstrip supply.
Right.
Way more demand than supply.
And the way it works in commodities is when you're at a sort of a balance, the pricing sort of hangs in around where it's at now. And when you get into deficit, then you get these crazy deltas on the stock or on the commodity price, and goes up. So I would say one of the best price curves you could look at in the commodity sector is nickel. And that's why we when we had the chance to acquire it a couple of years back, I was bullish on nickel then for the 4 reasons we talked about, and I felt that it was really going to be one of those markets that you could get into. And what's neat is that it's not only nickel in the overall broad market globally, but there's a sub-market called North American Class 1 nickel. And why is that? Well, because the U.S. just announced a new sort of electric vehicle regime where they're going to motivate people to, switch to electric vehicles and give them substantial tax credits, like in the order of $7,000-8,000 per vehicle. So, but in order to get that maximum tax credit, you have to have 95% of the vehicle and the materials made in North America. Well, it's just not possible to get there without nickel and North American nickel. So there's very few North American nickel projects, that are currently producing, and they're already sold out. So what are the new ones coming? Well, practically speaking, you can look at Talon Metals. They're like an analogy. They're that's what you like to be when we grow up, I guess. And they're like 11.5 million tons or thereabouts. in Minnesota, and they're moving towards production over the next 5 years. And then I would say we're probably next in line. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, you're no slouch because you guys have what we call a historical resource estimate, which means it's got solid numbers. It's not compliant only because the regulators want those to be updated to be compliant. But the historical numbers is you've got about 3 million tons of nickel right now, right?
Yeah, those were great. And that was about 1.5, 1.6% nickel EQ. And we actually had generated a what we thought was a updated 43101, and that we had published in, I guess, April or August. And there was a slight hiccup in that it was about 4 million tons, but I mean basically we had to pull it and agree to amend it. And the reason why we had to agree to amend it is that it needed to have metallurgy. And the old metallurgy was just at a date, so we needed new metallurgy to do that. We had always planned to do the metallurgy, and we don't see that as a problem. We expect we'll get fine results there, and we've started that process now. But it's going to take us about 4 months to get the metallurgical figures. So we needed to amend that report and update it. So what we are going to do is we'll actually produce a completely new report in that, because we've been drilling since mid-September, and we'll drill until mid-December. It's going very well, and we're really excited about it. And these new results will be incorporated into the amended 43101, and we're super bullish, George. I mean, I've said to people that we'll become Canada's next nickel mine. Well, what would that mean?
Wow.
In order to become commercial, you probably have to get to at least 8 million tons and then towards 10. And I feel like we're on a fast track to get there way quicker than people think. So this next update will, I think, raise a bunch of eyebrows. So we're
it's good to see that that was just a hiccup, because you did come out with the 43101 on August 30th. It had some good numbers. And we're not even going to talk about the numbers because you were asked to amend it because you didn't have this component. But that wasn't a major setback. You guys, that missing component was going to be a component regardless.
We were always intending to do that in England, and honestly, it was it's just our QP, and not to throw him under the bus because he's done an amazing job, and their team has done an amazing job in finding the ore body, which is far more important for us. There hasn't been a ton of nickel 43101s done. I mean, this will be, I think, maybe second or third one in the country.
Why is that, Terry? Given the fact there's so much demand for nickel, why?
Well, it's coming now in this last sort of year, 18 months. But up until then, nickel was just not economic at the current prices that it was at, and so people in Canada were focused on gold and copper and lithium and other projects that had better price curves. So there just wasn't a lot of action drilling wise. So now when nickel started to take off, then obviously it's got reinvigorated. So you've got your Giga Metals and Canada Metals and those types of guys, which are sort of bigger deposits but lower grade, different animal. It's going to take $1 billion to put those in production, and I think in this cycle they'll probably get there. But I mean, it's a much different economic decision. So, for example,
be much more nimble.
I mean, our project,
nimble, right?
Our project, we think will be very analogous to Talon's, which is basically a $200 million US number to get it in production. So it wouldn't, equity wise, you'd probably have to raise 30% of that or something like that. So that's not a big number relative to the overall scheme of things. So that's sort of where we're sitting, and we think as a result, they're now we'll get this drilling done. We'll get the revised 43101 out there. We'll get the new metallurgy, and we're excited about what we're seeing. So it's a good time to be looking at power nickel for sure.
Yeah, September 22nd, you announced that you followed up that August 30th with a second round of drilling. I know it's early; it's just about a month in, but how's the vibe about how the second round of drilling is going?
The vibe is excellent, to the point where we thought we wanted to increase the vibe. So we basically announced the financing that we're going to close either late this week or early next week, and that'll give us the money to expand this round and allow us to launch another round in mid-January to late January for another 5,000 meters. So I mean, in this business, you only drill if you like what you're getting. You know, it's and the cool thing about nickel
You're not
is
treasure hunting.
you actually know you're in the zone when you're drilling, because this stuff is visible to the eye, and it's a distinctive color. So it's a black peridotite rock. So we know we're hitting our target. We're not Nostradamus, so we can't forecast the grades, but you know we're expecting grades similar to what we historically have found, and or better. So we're pretty pumped. And you know, again, it's like I said to people, look, it's the results we put out last March were indicative of you know, that we're onto something big here. We're obviously drilling it again, and we're finding similar sort of action. And you know, our geologists are super you know, positive about the thing. It's an ultramafic deposit. So to give you an analogy, in Canada, there's been two: Lynn Lake, 22 million tons, Voisey's Bay plus 50. So we think we're going to be somewhere in that range. And what would that do? Well, I mean, that would make us $1 billion company, and we're 10 million now. And I mean, it's just ridiculous. And but we've told people this, that hey, it's so cheap, you should go buy it. But I think they were probably waiting.
Not that we're giving financial advice. We can't be giving.
No, not that we're giving
advice,
financial
but, you know,
advice.
Kerry obviously is very confident what he's got.
But I mean, I think you know, probably, you know, given the overall macroeconomic conditions, maybe people are concerned that we wouldn't be able to raise the money or whatever, but that's not the case. And we didn't want to, we did it almost all internally. So all existing shareholders. So, and we favored those guys because we wanted to reward the people that brought us here. So that's,
they're the ones who are not just flipping for warrants. They want to, they're believers. They want to see this thing through.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
and
for
speaking
sure.
of believing, seeing it through, if everything goes decently according to plan, and we all know that in the mining world, a business according to plan means not a straight line, but all sorts of wiggles and waggles. But if you get to where you think you're going to get to, you know, what does the future look like for NISC and Power Nickel? How long does it take to get to a point where you're happy with the tonnage? Ballpark, will it take 3 rounds of drilling, 4 rounds of drilling? And then when you get there, you want to sell it and mine it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to know at the end of this round whether we've got a commercial deposit, and I believe that'll be positive. Now, the second question is, when would you sell it? Well, you basically, you would keep on drilling and de-risking there as long as you felt you could put more tonnage in the ground. And our feeling is we'll get between 20 and 50 million tons with that, and that would require, you know, probably another, you know, 30,000 meters of drilling, you know, something that to get, you know, sort of into the 20s. So that's probably, you know, we're certainly going to be, we'll be drilling there, you know, over the next 18 months for sure. And now along that pathway, though, we would expect to put out a, you know, our critical path, I would say, for the next 12 months, or give or take, is we'll finish drilling this year to mid-December. We'll start to get assay results out within, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks here. And those assays will come over the next, you know, 12 weeks. We'll get the updated 43-101 out with the new metallurgical numbers and all these current drill holes. And that'll be done. At the same time, in you know, late January, we'll start the 3rd phase of drilling on NISC. Would expect that to go for another 3 months as well, again leading to an update in the 43-101, etc. And we'll have a 4th phase that would happen probably starting in August, July, August, and drilling through maybe to December. So at that time, we'd expect to have a PEA sometime in towards the end of the year to give us a snapshot of what economics will look like on that project. And we'll keep drilling as long as we can keep adding tons, and we expect we'll be able to for the next couple of years. So it's you know, at some point in time, the thing will be sold. Yeah, at some point in time, we expect that there'll be an auction. We'll sell it, but it you know, we're not sure when. I think what'll happen is as the world recognizes the commercial viability of the project, there'll be a, you know, manifest change in the stock price in terms of you can look at a Talon Metals, and they're basically trading at around 600-700 million for that deposit, because they own 51%, can take it up to 60. So you have to divide their market cap by 0.6 to get a feel for what the deposit's worth. And we'll, so we'll be worth some subset of that, and it won't be right now. We're at, I don't know, 2% of that. That's ridiculous. We probably, should we be worth 60-70% of that in terms of per ton basis? That's be my number. So that's a pretty huge number you'd have to jump to get there. But I think that's coming, and that's what's exciting, and that's why we're so excited about what we're doing at Power Nickel.
Last question. You have an extraordinary catalyst that the junior mining, the junior exploration business never seen before, which is this wave of demand you expect to be coming in from electric vehicles. So how does that weigh into your timeline? Because in the past, I knew exploration companies could take a little bit longer, do a little more drilling, keep proving up tonnage, keep proving up ounces or pounds or whatever commodity they were drilling for. But at some point, you're also gonna have to make a decision as to getting ore out of the ground, because there's
I think, but what's neat is that these guys are there's so much demand for this that I think you could structure a deal where, hey guys, I know you want to get this thing in production to get some nickel going for you in the next 5-6 years, which is possible with the government now being more supportive and much more, let's get the red tape out of your way, which is what they're doing for what they've said they'll do. So we'll see. And so I could see a deal where you sell what you got with a vision to continuing to do the exploration. And as you add more tonnage, they just agree to increase the price. So that would allow you to maybe develop a plant that's going to get operational, get the stuff out of the ground and move that forward. But you could keep on going with the value add process. It's been done in other businesses. It's sort of like, it's just it's an earn out, it'd be another way of an innovative way to earn out. So I think that type of structure could definitely come into play for something like this.
Terry, thanks for joining us today, my friend. It's amazing, how far you've come with Power Nickel since you acquired NISC from Critical Elements, who, by the way, has been a great partner, right? They're not just
we love Critical. Those guys are sharp guys. They're really phenomenal geologists, and we've always been super bullish on that project, and personally, I'm a big investor in Critical. So they've done great, and their stock's moving in the right direction too. And I'm expecting even more good news there. So yeah, great guys to partner with, and a really great story.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have them as your partners on this, because their expertise, their market, their capital markets reach, and all that. I'm sure all that will help and come more and more into play as you move forward with this.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us, Terry. Continued success, my friend. Can't wait to have you back on.
Okay, buddy.
To discuss those drill results as they start coming out.
All right, sounds good. Cheers for now. Thank you.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening by podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform, to Terry Lynch. He's the CEO of Power Nickel, trades in Canada under PNPN, and for our friends in the US under CMETF. For those new to the story and you want to do more due diligence because you believe in nickel, you believe in the role it's going to play in the electric vehicle boom that's coming, then get to the company's profile page on Agoracom. We've got the Power Nickel story neatly laid out there for you so you can understand it. And then when you're done with that, get over to the Power Nickel website, do your deep dive due diligence. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and even leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel and never missing another great Agoracom small cap video.